video is part of the What Would You Make Open Challenge. There's no theme, just make sure you use wood in all your projects. I'll give you a little bit more information about that after the first project. Okay, let's get this video started with the pumpkin trio. I'm using these cabinet fronts that I purchased from the Habitat for Humanity Restore, and also a fabric placemat that I got off Timo. Really quite simple. I'm also going to be using some paint stir sticks for the frame, which I don't show here. And there is a close-up of the sticker on the back of the cabinet fronts, and I just removed that with one of my Cricut scraping tools. And I'm using the back of the cabinet fronts because it's flat and because it's white. Also, the front had the edges were beveled, and so it just wasn't going to work. And the back is in such good condition that it made sense to just go for the back. Using the Hippo heat press there to iron out any folds or wrinkles, and then coming in with a regular pair of scissors and cutting out the edges because I want the fabric to be flat when I put down the frame. So I noticed that the space left above and below the placemat was the same width as the paint stir sticks. So I have them there as a bit of a guide. So I'm pouring on the Mod Podge, which is a decoupage medium, and I'm using the regular Mod Podge with the matte finish. Some people like to use different Mod Podges for different materials like fabric or paper or tissue or whatever, but I use the same Mod Podge for everything and it works just fine. So a good healthy coat of Mod Podge on there, and I'm just making sure I have the same amount of space at the top and bottom. And then I just smooth everything down just with my hands. And I do get some Mod Podge on my hands, but that's good. I know that it's going to adhere nicely. Now coming back with more Mod Podge for the front, it gives it a nice even finish. It dulls down any shine because I'm not sure what that fabric was, but it did have a little bit of shine to it. And also it ensures good adhesion. And it looks white now when the Mod Podge is wet, but it will dry clear. And it comes out really nice. Just making sure I've got that Mod Podge in all the nooks and crannies and all the edges. Now you'll see the areas circled there. I was kind of playing Tetris trying to get these paint stir sticks cut down right. And I didn't take into account that on the corners there, one of the pieces has to be shorter. So I cut most of them with my miter saw, and then I came back with my hand miter saw to fix it up. And then finally got everything working, and I'm just sanding the ends with some sandpaper that I purchased from Dollar Tree. And I had to do that because when I cut them with the miter saw, it did a lot of splintering. Whereas when I used my hand saw, it was not so bad. Okay, I pulled out my X-Acto knife case, and there was no handle in there. So I have all these cool blades, but no way to use them. So I'm searching through my little toolbox, and I came up with this box cutter. So that's what we're using to separate the trio of pumpkins. And it separates very easily because the Mod Podge dries really stiff. And it's no problem at all to get them separated. And then I'm going to flip them upside down and cut off the ends because it did go over the edges on the left and right. And again, very easily cuts off the edges there. Now I'm dry fitting the frames, the paint stir sticks, making sure that they actually fit, and they do. They should, because it took me quite a while to get them figured out. I'm flipping them over now and I'm going to use my hot glue wood glue combination. The hot glue acts like a clamp and holds the stick down until the wood glue dries. So I will do the exact same thing with all the pieces. Wood glue in the middle, hot glue on the edges, press down firmly, and then try not to mess with it for a while. Now I noticed there was a wee bit of a gap between the fabric and the stir sticks in a few places. So what I did, and I didn't get it on camera, I glued down some rope, just thick enough that it covers up the white. And then came in with a little bit of the lightweight spackle. There was a few gaps that I didn't like. And when that dried, I put a little bit of paint on top, and you can barely tell. So that's what it looks like. You want to put on some pretty heavy-duty hangers on the back, like some sawtooth hangers. I didn't get to that part because I didn't really have anywhere to hang it at the moment. But I'll give you a better look at the final reveal. Okay, so the What Would You Make challenge is hosted every month by Connie from Connie's Woodshop and DIYs and Brenda from Rustic and Lathe DIY. This month's guest host is Monica from Up All Night with Monica. Their channel links, as well as a link to the playlist, will be in my description box below. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the video. Okay, second and last project of this video is a colorful slatted wood pumpkin. And the color of the wood is really pretty. You could probably just leave it as is, like if you were doing something neutral, but we're going to make things colorful. So the slatted pumpkin came from Dollar Tree. The word comes from Dollar Tree, even though I do change it. And the darker wood was scrap wood that I've had in my stash for quite a while. So we're going to start things off by painting the wood backing or the base with this really pretty kind of denim colored chalk paint. I'm sure it has a different name than that. That's just, I chose it because it reminded me of denim. And I'm just using a baby white to do all the paint today. It comes on nice. You see a little bit of the wood grain beneath, but you have that pretty color. So to start things off, we're removing the hanging cord because this is going to be adhered to that base. And again, taking a baby wipe, I have some burnt umber Magic Fly acrylic paint. And we're going to try and get a nice even coat on here. And this is going to be the background or like the undercoat for the crackle. They suggest you have like a darker undercoat, so when the top coat crackles, you can see the dark underneath. It makes it more obvious. So I'm applying the crackle here. It's kind of see-through. You can't really see it. And that's just a crackle medium. And I probably should have put it on a little bit thicker because I don't get the crackle as big as I would have liked. I'm filling up the hanging holes there with some lightweight spackle. And I probably should have done that before, but I remembered, so I went ahead and put some tape on the back, filled the holes with some spackle, and then put a little bit more crackle medium top. And then I let it dry really well, like a couple hours probably. And then I come in with the acrylic paints that I picked out, just a bunch of colors that I thought would look good on pumpkin. And the trick to getting a good crackle is to try and not go over it too many times. And maybe I did that. I didn't think I did. But the paint was kind of thick, and I added a wee bit of water to it. So I'm wondering if that's maybe one of the reasons why it only lightly crackled. I'm not sure, but I'm going to have some fun here painting each slat a different color. I'm just kind of speeding through here. I sped this up so you can see the painting process. And I haven't used these acrylic paints for like a while. I've had them for more than a year. And some of them did start to dry up a little bit, but for the most part, they've lasted. And I actually did a slatted pumpkin last year, but that one I did with texture. So I did like vinyl and placemats and things like that. This one I'm just going to let the color do the shining. I'm almost finished up here. The last slat here is white, and that's actually Rust-Oleum Linen White Chalk Paint because I didn't have any acrylic white paint. Then I come in with my heat gun, and that's just to draw out the crackle even more. And I was so close to the wood, the wax paper underneath actually started to smoke a little bit, and it turned brown in a few places. The wood was fine, it was just the wax paper underneath. So I guess I was satisfied that I'd gotten as much crackle out of it as I could. And I don't think I showed it, but I did give it a good sanding afterwards as well. So now I decided to wrap the stem of the pumpkin. I just do that with some Dollar Tree jute twine. And then I'm wrapping the twine again around my fingers, and that's to make the finger bow. I like to spread my fingers out and wrap it around my fingers like, I don't know, like 9 times, 13 times. And then I just wrap the middle of it to make the bow and tie a couple knots on the back and apply it just under the stem with my hot glue gun. And just regular hot glue. So we're looking good here, almost done. I changed to the Hello Fall words, and I like that better, and I didn't even stain it or paint it. I just left it as is because I like how it stood out from the colors beneath it. And then I'm just applying some tumbling tower blocks to the back so it sits up a little bit. And I do that by using the wood glue hot glue combination. So this time I just brushed on some wood glue in the middle of the blocks and then a little bit of hot glue on either side. Kind of like applying glue and then using some clamps to hold it down till it dries. And isn't this nice? We're just gonna put some hanging hardware on it. These were eye hooks, I believe they're called. I tap it down with my little hammer and then just turn it with some pressure till it starts going into the wood, and then I come in with my pliers and I put the pliers through the hole and just twist it. I'm going to do that on both sides. And then I have some thicker jute twine I'm going to use to hang it up, and I will give you a good look at that during the final reveal. The final reveal.